Welcome back to GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, January 21st. If you were just tuning in, we just finished going over the Bears hiring Ben Johnson, the first big domino to fall in this year's coaching cycle. The big one that everyone was waiting on. Now every other team reacts and makes their decisions based off of that. In this segment, we continue our coverage of the NFL with some NFL power rankings. Just 4 teams remain in the hunt for the Lombardi Trophy. We're going to rank them 1 through 4, talk about why they have a chance, if they have a chance, and everything else involved in that. But before we do that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, January 21st. But like I was saying, we are going to get into our third topic of the day, the NFL Power Rankings. The conference championship games are here. Just 4 teams remain in the hunt for the Lombardi Trophy. The Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Buffalo Bills. We will rank them 1 through 4. Which team has the best chance to get that, to raise that trophy? At number 4 here, I think pretty simply, and I don't think many people will argue with me, is the Washington Commanders. They have been incredibly impressive, and by putting them at 4, I am by no means saying that they don't deserve to be here. I am in no way saying that they don't have a chance of winning the Super Bowl. I'm just saying they have the hardest path by far, and the reason is because their defense just isn't up to snuff. We've talked a lot about Jaden Daniels and how amazing he's been, and there's no doubt about it. You can't look at what he's done all playoffs long, all season long, and say he hasn't been amazing. I'm on record here saying he's the 5th best quarterback in the NFL, but that's only good to make him the 3rd best quarterback in these rankings, right? You still have to contend with guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Josh Allen that are still in a tier above him. But he's been amazing, and that Commanders team has beaten every single expectation you could have possibly put at them in the beginning of the season. This is the most successful season they have had since 1991, where they won 12 games and a Super Bowl. This is their best season in the 21st century, and it's not even close. It's very impressive what this team has done, but this is not their year. This is not the year where they are built to do it. They're going to have to run the gauntlet with these next couple teams. The Philadelphia Eagles, obviously a division rival, gives them a chance because division games always chaotic. But the Eagles have, in my opinion, the best defense in the NFL. If they run into the Chiefs, they're going to go into maybe the 2nd best defense in the NFL. The Bills, they're going to have to contend with another solid defense, one that just shut down Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to the best that just about anybody could shut down Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And they have Josh Allen on their team, who's playing like a superhero right now. So that is just a really, really tough road for them to deal with. And because of that, they're here at number 4 on the list. It's nothing against them. They are a great team, but I just think they are the team that is least likely to win the Super Bowl when it comes to this group of 4. At number 3, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are slightly above the Commanders because that defense is amazing. But when you take a look at all these teams, you take a step back, the offense is a bit concerning. They have Saquon Barkley, who has kept that team afloat, but you need to be able to throw the ball. And I know there's been discussions about Josh Allen having a similar stat line. Both of these teams finished, both Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts finished with 127 and 128 yards respectively. But this is not a trend that leads to winning football, right? The Eagles have a great defense. Again, probably the best defense in the NFL. They probably have the best running back in the NFL, and that is keeping them in games. But they let the Rams come all the way back in a snow game from when it seemed like they were done. The Rams got all the way down to about 20 yards out from completing a massive comeback last week. And that's because the offense, when it comes to crunch time, if they zero in on Saquon Barkley, you're not getting those contributions from your star wide receivers, your A.J. Browns, your Devonta Smiths that you need these guys to be. Jalen Hurts has not been effective in getting them the ball, and he has not been accurate when targeting them. He has given up hospital balls to Devonta Smith, letting him take these massive hits. A.J. Brown didn't have his greatest game. He dropped a would-have-been touchdown, but he and Jalen Hurts are having their own kind of issues. They're not really, reports from the locker room saying they haven't really been that close like they were when they originally joined this team, right? This is a team that has some internal turmoil, but that defense is really good. And I'm just not convinced that they're the team that's going to win a Super Bowl this year. I do think they have the third best chance, but those two AFC teams are a completely different animal. And because of that, they're here at number 3. At number 2, I'm putting the Buffalo Bills. And I know, the Buffalo Bills are playing really good football right now. They just took down the Baltimore Ravens, who were my pick at the beginning of these playoffs to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen is playing basically perfect football right now, even if his stats don't show it. You talk about being able to not turn the ball over, still being pretty accurate. And still, the passing numbers are a little bit concerning, especially when they play the style of football that they do. But him being able to get 2 touchdowns on the ground, being able to be physical, and more importantly, being able to keep the ball out of their opponent's hands has been incredibly important. That defense stepped up, forced 3 turnovers in that game to keep them in it, and that defense has been playing amazing as well. At the end of the day, I just trust Josh Allen a little bit more than I trust Jalen Hurts, and that's nothing on Jalen Hurts. He's still a really good quarterback. Again, I'm not trying to take people down by putting this list up, but I do think that the Bills have a slightly better chance, and I think Josh Allen is someone that can turn it on a little faster and a little more consistently than Jalen Hurts can, and because of that, despite these two teams being, in my opinion, very similar, the Eagles being a little bit worse offensively and being a little better defensively than the Bills, but I think at the end of the day, I'm trusting in Josh Allen to get them a better chance at the Super Bowl than the Eagles this season. But still, a very tough list at 2 and 3. And at number 1, of course, that leaves the one, the only, the Kansas City Chiefs. And the reason they're at number 1 is because it just feels inevitable, right? I'm not saying that this Kansas City Chiefs team isn't playing great, because they are. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are playing really good football right now. There's a reason that people are mad. They are going for the first three-peat in the history of the Super Bowl era, and that's not an easy accomplishment to do. What they've been able to do with their consistency, with their ability to win close games, it's a skill. It's not luck. And sure, some bad calls were made in that game, but they were going to win that game regardless. The Houston Texans, for how they played in that game, never really had a shot to win that football game, to advance past the Kansas City Chiefs and play in the AFC Championship game. They just were not going to do it. The Chiefs were always going to win that game, especially the way that offense was going. And that Chiefs team isn't perfect. But like I said, they have probably the second best defense in football right now. And what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do, how the Chiefs have been able to control the ball offensively, how that defense has been able to tee off on quarterbacks and come up with huge stops when they need to stop the run game, which is very important in this year's playoffs, especially. We look at teams that have been very, very focused on running backs, not a lot of possessions, but the Chiefs, they find a way to score on a lot of their possessions when a lot of these other teams that are near the top of this list have been a little bit less successful. The Eagles, for instance, they struggle in the kicking game. Jake Elliott is not having his best season. The Bills, they just sometimes aren't able to get that offense going, but the Chiefs, they have been consistently consistent, which is something that's hard to say about a lot of other teams. And because of that, I think they have the best chance to win the Super Bowl, and I don't think it's very close. But let me know what you think of my list. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Commanders at 4, Eagles at 3, Bills at 2, Chiefs at 1. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we do a little ride around the coaching carousel, some news surrounding what might get hired or some coordinators that have been hired in the NFL coaching carousel. We'll be right back with that and much more coming up next here on GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast.